in short, I just finished the CFX authentication supporting for V2 Messenger. That's all. How's your side, Sam?
I
think we
turning through.
We can as long as the Redos suite test, we can get it in and start working on the integration with the existing Crimson OSD. Figure out what's missing.
Yep. Yep, I'm going through failures as they happen and rescheduling. So a few things have come up so far. I probably expect a few more. It was a big patch series. I'm actually already working on the integration. I need something to do while the tests are running, right? So I got as far today as making it build as part of the Crimson in Crimson Common or whatever. Wasn't too bad. The only sort of hiccup was switching OSD map ref in a few different headers to use boost, local, whatever, when compiled with Crimson. So no big deal there. But yeah, other than that, it's building with it in there. So now I just need to link up the 20 or 30 helper methods. Yep.
Okay.
So good.
I'll try to finish the review in the next week. Get it merged ASAP. Otherwise, we need a lot of time. With a lot of time rebasing on the master.
Oh, and I did get it rebased on Friday, so I'm caught up for now.
Okay. Thank you. And the Redux.
Mostly things related to performance. Let's start from the execution stage in do OSD ops. I guess comparing this very simple execution stage. Simple. Well, the commit has few lines, but it's quite promising, I would say. Well, we are getting higher latency, and in single load generator test, we are getting maybe 6% less I/O. But after putting yet another load generator instance, the results are much more nicer. Basically, I was able to reach 25% more IOPS. With higher latency, of course, but also higher throughput. Internally, I was taking a look on how those execution stages are implemented internally in SeaStor, and it turns out that basically you have a couple of constraints. First one is that it's the data the function, the method you are making, you are staging should have very limited parameter set. It's because it's copied. It goes through a special queue. It's in a special queues inside SeaStor. So the lesser arguments, the shorter arguments, the better for you. Also, there is each call to execution stage causes schedules a task, and in SeaStor scheduled a task, and also instantiates this task derivative each time. It's opportunity for but well, not for now, I think. Second topic related to performance is another optimization in the future library. Let me provide a commit. It's one-liner. Got it. It's about chaining continuations. SeaStor already has quite smart trick to bypass reactor. If you schedule a whole chain of continuations on a on a future that is fulfilled, that's satisfied, that has the final value inside, then you are calling those lambdas with inlining possibility. You are not going reactor, you are bypassing. However, it doesn't work when you have unsatisfied future. Then in such case, each element of your continuation chains needs to go through reactor. It means that you have to go with dynamic dispatch, vtables, but you need to go to reactor, put your task inside a queue, all that stuff. But the most limiting thing, I guess, it's the indirect cost of dynamic dispatch. It's prohibiting compiler from aggressively inlining the code. I'm trying to.
Isn't that necessary if it's not fulfilled though? Like you want to schedule because you want to get other work done, right?
No, I mean, it's the first element. You are talking about the first element of your continuation chain. It really needs to go. You really need to go through reactor for this one. But if you have a second, third, fourth, all the stuff that are ready, you could avoid. You could bypass reactor for them. They are ready.
Oh.
If you have continuation planned on those elements of your continuation chain, you potentially could avoid reactor at all.
Yeah, I guess I just don't really understand it.
There is a forward series of methods responsible for doing that. When somebody calls then or then wrapped or something like that on future, it checks whether the value is already available. If it is, there is a trick to avoid sure. But if not, then you are scheduling a continuation. There is a class derived from continuation base. You are scheduling a continuation that forwards the value you get from this single continuation to another one.
Okay.
But when the continuation is finally scheduled, it wants to forward its value to another element inside the continuation chain. And it should be possible to call this directly, not schedule another task in.
Yeah, I guess I'll
right now. Yep, it's a pretty complicated stuff when the futurator comes to play.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, good thing. Do we have? I'm taking a look. I'm taking a look on the INCSYN batched message sending, and it's very smart. It's very similar to execution stages, with one important difference. Execution stage always tries to schedule always go through reactor, always tries to schedule a new task. It means I guess that side effect from that is that it gives more time for filling a particular queue. And it's The side effect is that your batch will be bigger. And I would like to verify the average size of the out_q in the Yingxin patch. But, well, something like perf counter would be really good for that. But do we have any perf counters in Crimson?
What perf counter for?
Sorry, could you repeat, please?
Sorry, what your question was? What perf
Do we
counter
have?
you are after?
Yes. I have a task. I would want to use a perf counter. I would want to implement our new perf counter for measuring the average size of the batch.
I'm on board with that because I want Peering State already has them. So I'd actually be fine with that in perf counters. I don't see any reason why it would be a problem for Crimson, to be honest. It's really just a bunch of atomic integers. I mean, right? Am I missing something, Kifu?
Yes.
Oh, what am I missing?
No.
Or you're saying, yes, that sounds reasonable. Okay, yeah.
It's reasonable. I mean, we didn't miss anything.
I mean, we can certainly make them more better later, but I don't. Fine.
Okay, I've understood. We can use the classical perf counters inside Crimson. Is that correct?
Yeah, that seems fine.
Okay, cool.
Solves a problem for me too.
By the way, if you want,
sorry, Rigor. I thought you finished.
Just quick note. If want to improve perf counters, there is an old branch with that. I made some optimization for perf counters. It's old branch. I will try to find it. Maybe we could reuse. And that's all
at this stage, my suggestion would be to just make it so that they can be if-deffed out for performance builds and not worry about it. Because the interface for incrementing them, I think, is probably fine. Like the way the interface you use to interact with the perf counters is probably going to be good enough, right?
Well, the interface for perf counters was the most painful thing. It got complicated over time. Let me find the branch.
I don't mean the interface for building them and stuff. That's all really complicated. I mean the part where you consume them when you're like incrementing them and stuff. It's like two integers being passed to a function though. Like that seems okay.
Let me find the branch.
Oh, fair enough.
That's all from
okay.
Actually, how's it going? I was looking at your PR last week, but I think the crux of the problem is to expose the interface, which can load the config file and also load the options from command line. But currently, we don't have such kind of interface. That's what we were missing.
Yes, so I suggested that we pass the configure file before we started the SeaStor thread.
Yes, we can do it. Otherwise, we need to start the reactor twice. The first time to absorb the configurations from the command line and also from the config file, and pass it down to the second round of reactors. That will be messy. So
So
I
it could be the
I would suggest to expose the interface to read the options from the configuration and from command line. Read it before we start the reactor. That's the way to go.
so pardon. So you agree that we passed the config file before we started the reactor?
Yes, that's
Okay.
one option.
Yeah. So okay. So currently I'm working on. So last week, Jianpeng finished the messenger test across the server, the remote, not the locally. So on the local test case, and most cases, Chrome Messenger is better than a sync messenger. And for the remote, means cross the networking in cross the servers and maybe 50% Chrome Messenger is better than async, but 50% is worse than async. So based on that testing result, I'm trying to set up a test environment, not use the WeStart, just cross the server to try if we can get some better performance for the Chrome Messenger, Chrome OSD. And I have to manually start up the Ceph OSD and Chrome OSD. Currently, I can successfully start Ceph OSD and Chrome OSD, but when I do the testing, I have some problem, and I will show you.
I mean, my first guess is that probably the OSD failed to enter active and clean state. Is that right? So it cannot serve
What do you
the
mean
read
clean state?
request. Clean and active. Before it serves the read request, it need to be clean and active.
Pardon? It's not very clearly from my side.
Sorry, I mean, before an OSD is able to serve a read request, it need to be PG. It is served by it must be clean and active.
Oh, so when I shut down the Ceph OSD and start up a Chrome OSD, it start up. But when I do the Rails bench and I got the message I pasted here, there is fault during accepting. But when I search the source code, I don't know who turned out this log. So the Rails bench cannot connect it to the Chrome OSD in my situation. So currently I couldn't set up. So that you mean that there's a PG problem, right? PG peering is not finished.
By not accepting, what do you mean by accepting? Is the socket connected, or it just cannot, or the client just hung and cannot finish the test?
Cannot connect the client cannot connect the
That's a different issue.
the Chrome OSD. So there's
she posted log messages in the chat, just so you know.
I posted in the chat, and when I searched the source code, I couldn't find who print out this log. So anybody know it? In which
It's in the
situation
messenger.
Do you have the patch, the hack for enforcing PG state active applied?
I just used the master branch.
Oh,
I think
okay. I had the same
socket
issue.
didn't even accept it.
You have the same
Okay.
issue? So which
similar one? Similar. I had an issue. I needed to research to applying some hacks in PG wait for active, but I think
Oh, I see. I will try it later.
I think the log mass linked actually I get
Kefu, it's not very clearly. Can you speak loudly? It's not continue for your voice. Hey, Kefu. Oh, where is Kefu?
I can't hear anyone now. Are you guys talking?
We log in. So Redok, so that your set PG active is just workaround for that issue?
Not sure. Neither the issue you are experiencing is the same. I've got. I that Kifu had a similar one, and he made dispatch to work around it. Without the patch, I'm not. My Rados bench is just not able to start issuing any operation. It seems well. Ceph-S shows it's the PGs are stuck in peering state, I guess. But maybe a different issue. Anyway, I will just start from applying this one-liner.
So, Rados, when you do the testing, you use the block size is 4K, or do you use other block size?
Not in this test. I know that we tried with Kifu for Max, and well, it's significantly slower. I mean, the Crimson OSD is significantly slower than classical OSD.
Oh, so the test result is Crimson OSD is slower than Ceph OSD.
Or for Max, yep.
Okay.
Do we know why? Just out of curiosity.
I took a very rough look. I guess it was we were burning most time for CRC calculations and for mem copying the data. It might be that we just have another unnecessary mem copy over the IO path.
Yeah, that should be fixable.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, okay,
Go
let me
on.
put it another way. It's definitely fixable. I mean, it has to be, right?
Yeah, but well, I guess the 4K random reads is everything for now.
Exactly.
Format, of
If
course,
SeaStor were going to be causing like problems we can't fix, it would be it's small random IOs.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
I agree with you.
that's the idea.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Whatever is going on with big ones has to be fixable. It can't be a big deal. Probably. Also, for what it's worth, the thing I'm working on is to make it so that peering works. So hopefully it will, not that long.
Yeah.
Until then, working around it is definitely the way to go. You don't want to spend time like debugging it.
Give a bet, made a bet that the peering issue was the reason why you started working on sharing the entire machine between classical and Crimson OSD.
Oh, it's like 7,000 lines of code. We were never going to rewrite it. That was never going to happen. It's just too much code. And it's the 7,000 lines that matter the least for performance. They simply do not interact with the regular I/O path at all.
Yep.
So,
and well,
spending our time rewriting that would have been inefficient.
Exactly. I mean that codes like this one are extremely pricey.
Yes.
Even if it's ugly, you never want to rewrite it.
And that's the thing. It's actually not, strictly speaking, ugly. We actually did refactor it a number of years ago into like a state charty sort of deal.
I see.
So in that sense, it is actually fairly tolerable. It could be better, but we would get to that point by refactoring it, not by rewriting it.
Exactly. But even if it would be ugly, I would still keep it with as small changes as possible.
Oh no, I think we should definitely change it over time. We're going to change it significantly as we mutate Crimson. It's just that we're only going to have one copy. We're not going to have two. That's the really critical part. We don't want two implementations appearing, we get to use it in the meantime.
Well, I'm always afraid with touching codes like that, because I guess it's a very important thing. It's critical from the OSD perspective.
I mean, you're not wrong. It is
not from performance, from reliability. But
you're totally right.
Quite infrequently. So if you have bugs there, it takes much time to pop up, to show. It takes much time for them to show, to manifest.
Actually, that code sees pretty high mutation rate because it actually carries a lot of load. It does a lot of stuff. But yeah, that's why we have testing. But if you never touch it, then you tend to start doing suboptimal things design-wise, and that really becomes a problem eventually. So you do kind of want to keep everything nice and tidy as you go. You don't touch things for no reason, but if you're messing with a part of the interface, you also fix stuff around it.
Okay, cool.
That's my philosophy anyway.
So Kefu, what do you want to say just now? Hello, Kefu?
Lost him. And we'll ping him in IRC.
Hello, Kefu?
Yeah, I can hear. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Sort
yes.
of.
Sorry, I got dropped. Actually, I wanted to discuss with you guys what's the midterm plan. One thing
Yeah, Kefu, the
I can
background,
say is
there's
to
some noise. Your background has
um.
some.
So I mean, railway station. So my mic doesn't have noise cancel functionality. Probably I can send it in the chat.
Kifu, we can
Are
understand
you
you. It's quite
outside?
fine.
Are you
Yeah, we can
outside?
hear you.
Okay.
Just wanted to discuss the midterm plan. Two things in my mind is that we want to get Crimson OSD work better with SeaStor. Another is to implement the right functionality to see what is missing and to structure the PG back in the better shape.
Sorry, I missed
Any
that
thoughts?
second when you said implement the what? Yeah,
So
this time
maybe
we
the
didn't.
Wi-Fi is not too good at Kefu's side. Always
Yep.
disconnected.
He said he's at the train station, so probably a little unreliable.
Understandable.
What Kefu side? What the PT about?
I'm not totally sure. I think he was saying he wanted to implement something so we could see what the. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I've heard something about missed features. Maybe, well, maybe he would. I'm speculating. Maybe he would focus on bringing the feature gap between Crimson and classical OSD.
Well, that's certainly the goal. What's the plan for the backing disk store? Is the plan to in the short term adapt BlueStor? I know it's not ideal, but
There was,
writing a new one
well,
would take a long time.
sure. There was some discussion at the beginning of Crimson what to do with Object Store. Surely for testing, we decided to stick to MEMStar, but
Yeah.
the intermediary thing was to adapt a BlueStar to be able to exist in the SeaStor world. And
Yeah, it
a
seems
couple
logical.
of ideas came to play. I was thinking for some time about writing some kind of generic adapter between current object store interface, I mean classical object store interface, and its new futurized version.
Yep.
Adapter with a thread pool inside, with alien inside, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I would think would be the right way to do it.
But I guess, well, not sure where when we made when the decision will be made. Personally, I wouldn't expect it before the Barcelona summit. I bet that a lot of
Yeah.
folks.
I mean, that's only a month out.
Yep.
I mean, my plan over the next month is to get pairing working.
I see.
That should be
I'm
doable.
I'm focused on performance things, and just not sure whether I should pick up some feature related thing or just keep doing what I'm doing right now.
Sure. See, if it were me, my instinct would be to start working on some kind of actual disk-based object store. because it's a thing that can happen in parallel with stuff that's happening in the OSD. But I don't know that that's necessarily the next. I don't know that that's necessarily a next 4 weeks thing, because like, that's what we're talking about, right? It's a really short time frame.
Yeah,
so
ultimately,
it's hard to say.
That's related to the object store discussion. Ultimately, I guess that ultimately we will get also a brand new object store that.
Eventually, yeah. That, I mean, you do something totally different.
Totally different, totally Crimson SeaStor optimized, all that similar in concept to Crimson OSD. But it's very long-term goal, and I wouldn't expect it can happen in maybe even half a year or from now. It's really long story.
Yeah.
And maybe even not because of technical reasons, it could be also a political ones. But, well, it's always painful to make a new object store.
That's true. Yeah.
All that legacy, backward compatibility, testing.
Right path. SJS, right path. One is better integration with vstart. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Oh, he's in IRC talking if.
Okay.
I'm gonna like try to like type the things back in. Yeah.
Roman, what's your time right now?
Who?
We got a new colleague. Ronan, he will be working on Crimson. I guess, well, for me it's 7 a.m. and it's quite early because I tend to go to bed lately. Ronan, did you have a problem to wake for this call?
Who?
Ronan.
Hi.
Yes.
Hi, Kefu cannot join because the Wi-Fi networking doesn't stable, and Kefu has a question and proposal here. So what's our next plan? And his plan, he wants to implement the right IO path first, and then to get to know the bottleneck of the OSD. So that is Kefu ask open question or next plan. So and his opinion is implement the right IO path. And Friedman, Kefu said he will email you and contact you later.
Oh, he's going to send an email? Yeah, that makes sense. Then we can discuss it next week. That is logical.
So do we need to discuss any other problem today?
Nope, sounds like the call is over.
Yeah, so if no other discussion, so we can finish today's discussion. And that's it. If you have other different opinions on the next plan, so you can send out to all people.
One comment. Hi.
Hi.
I was on mute, probably. I made a lot of comments on mute, it seems.
No worries.
I was told that. Yeah, I was told it would happen to me in the first meetings. So just wanted to say hi, and that for now I don't understood almost nothing of everything that was said during this talk, but I hope to get into things as fast as I can.
Yeah, Kevu said he will contact you later, maybe by email.
Yeah, I think I heard it and I answered earlier, but thanks. On mute. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Have a good one, y'all.
Riddles, I will send you email about your modification in SeaStor. I don't very understand what you do, so please give me some description about your patch.
Well, actually, the patch came from Kifu, and what I understood is that it just enforces Crimson OSD, enforces the state of in the internal state of all its PGs.
In other words, it pretends to be active even though it isn't, which is fine for testing purposes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I would assume. I haven't seen the patch, but that's what I would do. Like if it,
Okay,
if it
the
was
patch. Sam, just take a look. The patch is the
Which one?
second snippet. Putting a link.
Oh, yes.
Just
All
a
right.
second. Okay.
Wait, this is something else.
Here it is. It's a second snippet in the gist. Git diff. Just before the build procedure paragraph.
Oh, I see. Okay, so what that does is as soon as it calls wait for active, it immediately sets active. So it's just not waiting for the peering machinery to become active. It's just doing it, which is fine. You
Cool.
will get inconsistent data, but it's performance testing, so whatever.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. That seems like an expedient and reasonable solution to the problem.
Cool. Till we have apple-to-apple comparison, everything's fine.
Yep. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.
Cool.
Bye.
See you later, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Roland,
Bye. Thank you.
I'm